And this next session is actually talking about the creativity. So if you are ready for the new era of creativity, our next speaker is ready to take us to the journey of artistic discovery through the Web3 Renaissance. What is the Web3 Renaissance? That could be a first question for our next speaker. And his background is both in art and technology and has made him a pioneer in the field of digital art. And here is to share his experience with us. Please, all the way from Finland, the one and only VESA Kivinen. Please, round of applause for him.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, VESA.
How are you doing?
How are you?
Very good.
Is this, because we were talking about ChatGPT previously, is it a good thing or is it a fad?
Both.
Both.
You will have the negative side, you will have the good side.
Let's see the good side of Web3 and then the art, yeah? In your presentation.
Got it.
The stage is yours.
Thank you, my
VESA.
friend. How's everyone doing? Cool. So that's how you find me. If you want to follow a little bit the journey along, most of the stuff that I'll be talking about you'll find on my website. As this is a very visual presentation, check it out. But first, before I go into anything, let's have a look at a little bit of a showreel of what it is that I do, because pictures talk thousands of words and so forth. As they say. Thank you. It's very kind of you. So, a little bit about me. AIBC World Summit kindly gave me the NFT Artist of the Year award just a while ago. And during the last 2 years, I've been very fortunate that this 15-year grind as a digital artist is finally starting to pay off, and people are recognizing what it is that I do and so forth. And the World NFT Artist was last year, as well as Top Web3 Artist Awards. I'm very, very grateful for these, because for the longest of time, even though I did projects that reached a lot of people and we were able to do impactful things, economically, people didn't really care that much about my art at that point. So all of these have come through quite a lot of trial and tribulation. And because as a digital artist for 15 years, when I entered the crypto art and NFT space in 2017, there were only 5 of us who essentially came to generate the cultural side of crypto and start to make art for and about the blockchain and what it is that this whole thing is. And because of that, I was able to connect to many great people who've built profound things. For example, Charles Hoskinson is a collector of mine, as well as Charlie Lee, the Litecoin founder, and of course the great Dr. Marwan Al-Zarouni, who's here, one of the speakers we built together in Dubai. And this is a very fortunate circle that these people have trusted me with their energy, reputation, and resources to kind of support what it is that I do. Before going into any of the artistic and creative side, I want to show you something that happened 13 years ago when I had a slit disc in my back, which led for my lungs to collapse I went to intensive care for about 3 days, and it wasn't very certain whether I was going to live or die. And actually, and all kudos to Anita, Cryptogranny Kalergis, who's organized for me to be here on the stage today and why everything functions here to begin with. I didn't have the heart to tell her that it merely because I've got a busted leg and still this back problem is something, I was actually, that's not the real picture of me getting kind of like blood sucked out of my back and everything, because I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to fly here. And I couldn't tell that to Anita. So only under death would I have not come under this stage. But it wasn't something that was granted that I'd get to be here today. So the last 13 years, all of this stuff that has happened, it has been a lot of pain, a lot of tribulation, and a lot of perseverance in order to be here today to be speaking to you about. So please just don't think that this has ever become easy. It's still not easy, and we still show up 100%. And why I wanted to show you this, and why I will talk about a lot of my own projects of what it is that I do, that I've noticed that when I do keynote speaking, that if I tell someone what to do, or this is my opinion, or this is whatever, most of the time, no one actually does anything, and they go, okay, so that's some talking. Human beings, we learn through behavior, we actually buy behavior, and then when someone sets an example of something, then we get ideas of how we might be able to implement those ideas into your own lives. So this is the reason why I lead by example, and a lot of the stuff that I'm about to talk to you about. And gratitude versus resentment. This is one last thing about the previous slide. I've noticed that you can have an absolute genius of a person, but if their base feeling on the inside somehow is spun through resentment in any kind of way, their genius will lead to disasters. And even if you have the most simple of people doing the most simple of things, if they're able to be grateful for what it is that they're going through, even if it's a lot of suffering, their results usually lead to very, very good outcomes. So gratitude is the cornerstone of all innovation that actually leads to something. Like people are asking, is ChatGPT good or bad? It depends on the intent that you will set for it to have. And balance is key. I'm a big pyramid head. I love the ancient structures. I love the ancient mythology. I love to see how the most familiar and stable of our structures, in many different ways, resembles and has a frequency and relevance for us today. And how we breathe in and breathe out, it's a 50-50 exchange that we do with other people. We take care of ourselves, and then we take care of other people. But never let your whole self go in the service of others, and vice versa. Mastery of the 7. And the reason I tell you these things is that it's not an accident that these creative things and collaborations and companies and metaverse buildings and all of these have happened. There's an actual philosophy that I've come to learn from much wiser people than myself in order to be able to do these things. And mastery of the 7 is something that you could pretty much summarize as in that it's your philosophy, it's your religion, it's your familiar relationships, it's your work, it's your money, it's your health, it's those things that you divide into a pie. And if you have relative mastery of all of them, you will have a very wholesome together life. Because we all know a rich person who's absolutely miserable, and even though many people might be jealous of them on the outside, if their relationships are a disaster and they don't take care of their health, like I now have a bit of an issue with that mastery, that's nothing to look up to. So it is the holistic human being that I'm here to present to you today that is the important thing. And that usually comes with a high frequency of vision. If you really have a goal, if you know how to be of service, if you know what to contribute to the world, then the obstacles aren't that much, because then you know where you're going. So whatever the obstacle in front of you is, it's just something to get over, go under, sideways, or whatever, or obliterate it from your way. And this could be that might sound a little arrogant, but visionary speech as opposed to motivational speech. Motivation doesn't really carry. You can pump yourself up and be all, yes, I'm hyped up, and I come on stage and I'll say all of these great words and whatever it is. That's not going to last. What is going to last if you form yourself a vision of where you want to go and then power through that, and then you'll be sustainable and have a much bigger impact. Talking about pyramids, talking about Egypt, talking about thousands of years of structure. This is one of the things that we did with a company called Superworld a while ago. This is a metaverse gallery of the Luxor Temple in Egypt, which is this fantastic structure that if you look at it from above, it's actually built into the image of man. And the idea that was built inside of this temple is that the journey of a pharaoh starts from the feet and goes all the way to the head for the soul to become transcendent and leave this plane. And this whole structure is built so that the pharaoh knows what to do, as well as how the society is structured around as a comprehensive whole around this building. And I realized that we really don't build buildings like that anymore, and that's a shame. We don't take into consideration this holistic vision of how we build buildings. So we have this idea that what if we make this my personal art gallery at the same time, because it resonates with what it is that I do in art. So we get to present the best of the past, something that is now possible today, and maybe it'll give you some ideas of what it is that you might be able to do with your own metaverse space to present whatever it is that your project is in order to bring it all together and be at the very cutting edge of things. So that's what it looks like from the outside. And just a couple of years ago, I had no idea that this kind of a thing would be possible. So I'm super grateful for this collaboration. And what I do as an artist is slightly different to what we do as a company called VESA Digital. And that can be summed up as human experience design. And you can think of something like a painting. Most of the time it's a picture, it's in a frame, it's on the wall. Most people don't pay attention to it. It's like a decorative element or something like that. That's not what art is. So art needs to escape this framework inside of your minds, and I hope I get to help you do that a little bit today. This is an artwork called the Desert Rose. I live in Dubai. My wife and some good friends like Papa Blockchain, Anita Kalergis, and others who are the Finn Mafia, who are doing a lot of impactful things over there. And this artwork is made in honor of the region, of how it feels like this fluid, gentle, powerful place that is adopting Web3 and all of its metaverse implications faster than anywhere else that I've seen in the world. So it's a great blessing to be living over there. And we got this idea that what if we started finding materials that we could print this digital artwork onto, for example, porcelain or something like that, and transform real-life villas into artworks, not only on the outside, but also because we work with a company called HCOM and Art in Space. They spent 14 years developing this room with these super high resolution LED screens. You can make 300 smells come from the ceiling. The floor resonates with the same frequency as audio. There's wind and smoke, and it's a totally immersive digital space. So this is something that can be inside of the villa or an airplane or, whatever, restaurant. You can transform that whole living space into an alive artwork. With the partner, I'll talk about Dr. Marwan a little bit later more as well, but we have an exclusive right to transform full-blown art cars to be street legal, to be driven in Dubai. And one thing that it crucially does as an artwork is that it's not something that is on your wall. It becomes a part of your identity to the point that you get to drive it. And people compliment you. Like, the best thing about these art cars is that when I drive mine in Dubai, usually I get like a 5-6-year-old boy or girl or something like that, and they walk past the car and you could see how it's like the Matrix effect. Their minds are blowing literally in front of you, what's possible and what's not. So you become the superstar due to the art that I do, which is a cool thing to experience. We're going after the big boys. Why not? Why not do the yachts? Why not do the jets? And while we're at it, they're metaverse versions. So that can be your virtual reality car inside of your digital space, as well as your real life car, and a huge wall in your house, or a painting, or a part of your fashion, your furniture, whatever it is. So as part of the artwork, what we sell is the IP to the artwork that might actually start to make you money, as well as be an investment into something that just enhances your life in a creative kind of way. This we did with Tano just a while ago. This metaverse sneakers for your avatars. Obviously not something that you can do in real life. There's not a logo that pumps and does all of this kind of stuff. So You know, this is a lot of fun to experiment with all of these different kinds of things. So if you have a fashion brand, if you have something like that, the augmented reality options of what you can do with your t-shirt all of a sudden is very different than just having it normal. How are you doing thus far? You okay? You follow me? Yeah? Good stuff. This is a new artwork. And to go a little bit deeper into the IP side of things. So you can have it as a normal printed artwork. It can be on your wall. But you can also take that artwork and, like with my partner Megaverse, you can implement it into a virtual reality villa. And that can be the whole of the outside. I'm not saying that that's maybe your preference. That's quite a psychedelic space altogether. It might disturb your mental peace if you kind of hang out there too much. But just as a demonstration case, the outside of this virtual space, you have like a place at home, but then you can expand that to become this whole thing that it's statues, it's carpets, it's pool tables, your virtual jet, and whatever it is. So this artwork, like I said, truly becomes a part of your identity, as well as a commodity that you trade and make money with, and how you work with it all together. A part of how we do things, and what it is that I did before, this is 10 years ago, I body painted this Bollywood actress called Veena Malik. And she's Muslim, she's Pakistani, so that was quite the thing, and the press really came to see whether we made a car accident or whether it was actually a legit art project. And what we did is that we made these artworks that commented upon the common heritage of all spirituality all across the world in order for us to find things in common. Men and women, Pakistani, a Finnish person, all the different religions or whatever it is. And we wanted to build bridges because the world was polarizing quite a bit. And because of that, we'd reached about 300 million people to critical acclaim. And now what that's led for me to do, finally, with an amazing person called Brittany Kaiser. She's the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower, so you might remember the Trump campaign. You might remember, you know, the Brexit and all that kind of stuff, and how they manipulated all the algorithms in order to, on Facebook, to do some shady stuff. So she's the whistleblower of that project, and her Netflix documentary, The Great Hack, has something like 1 billion views at this point. It's one of the most popular things on Netflix. And her life story, we're transforming into big data art in NFTs. So this is her in my studio in Helsinki a while ago, where we had 8 GoPro cameras, video cameras, depth cameras. We threw everything in the kitchen sink at her to capture her life story and the relationship of data, which is now the most valuable resource in the world, into NFT art that not only does something creative, it opens up portals and is an educational thing at the same time. And then we're going to take this stuff on a world tour. So this is something that is very exciting to me. Like I said, here's Dr. Marwan and Anita, and this is the first car that we transformed into a full-blown art car in Dubai. It's a Tesla. And because when I realized what Elon Musk was doing with that Tesla was, it's not only a car, it's a transformation of the whole world's electricity and transportation system. It's a philosophy, it's an evolution. So it's not a car that he's selling you an idea kind of like Steve Jobs did with Apple. It's a much, much bigger thing than the product itself. So this car really, when you see it, first you think that the thing that is of value is the car. Then you start to question whether it's the artwork itself that is more valuable than the car. What about the augmented reality version of that car? What about the access to the metaverse that we're building in order for you to drive that car and race other drivers and win prize money? What is that whole stack of assets worth if you really start to do it right, especially since we have the only right to do them in Dubai? And also Gary Vee, we had the artwork, he signed it when he came to Dubai, we presented it to him. So we kind of work with influencers who have a lot of reach, and we do these things that are kind of new so that we reach the optimal side of having familiarity as well as, you know, the new. So both sides are satisfied. Very quickly, this is another thing. There are 3.5 billion people in the world without a bank account. This is another project that we do with KogoPay. It's called a Heavenly Home in Thailand with orphan kids who are doing drawings that we're going to transfer into NFTs that we're going to sell so that the Heavenly Homes start to make some income from NFTs, as well as the kids will get some money into their own bank accounts to start empowering themselves as they go along with this. So that's something that is very close to my heart and kind of the base idea of crypto. Quickly, this is happening on Monday, crypto.com. I'm doing an NFT drop with them, 12 original artworks, relying on the beautiful woman, female form that are transformed into something that is going to be a metaverse party access to those who collect the artworks. This is another partner that we have, Blockchain Valley Virtual, and that's Nico's avatar walking in this pyramid structure, the Chichen Itza pyramid, where we're going to have some of these parties for those who get to join the inner circle. So that's happening very soon. You'll find it on my website. Cermak Eisencraft, here my gallerist Thomas, he has the leading gallery in Czech Republic. There's Papa Blockchain, my wife Anita, Her Excellency Amna Fikri, who's the ambassador of UAE to Finland, who helps us out a lot in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Elias is of course there, the first Bitcoin historian who's here in the audience. Amazing guy. So we have this Finnish mafia thing going on. And the other ones who are really helping us out is called Crypto Oasis. It's the world's fastest growing blockchain crypto ecosystem. And these guys know everyone and they do very cool stuff and they're incubating my company. And Ralph and Sakar are there as pictures. These guys are doing amazing things. So check out Crypto Oasis because they're worth paying attention to. Here are some of the logos of our partners and people that we work with. So this is not only a pipe dream of an artist that we get to do these. We have a lot of people who are helping us out to make things possible. And here are some of them. Quantum, by the way, Christos is doing the gig with Scott Page, who's the guy with the Pink Floyd saxophone player who are going to be performing for you in a little bit. I do consultancy. We help people, companies, with their strategies of how to do this stuff. And here's how you find me. Thank you very much for your time.